From Software's reputation precedes itself when it comes to developing ridiculously tricky games, and Bloodborne is certainly no exception. In the vast world of Bloodborne, you may have been too busy fighting for your life to catch some of the intricate pieces of lore that From Software left for us. For those of you that haven't played before, Bloodborne is out for free this March on PlayStation Plus, so check it out. Hi, I'm your friend Pat with the Leaderboard, and we're here to check out the Easter eggs in Bloodborne. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to become a part of our notification squad. Gehrman is a bit of a creeper. Bloodborne is creepy in a scary eyeball monster kind of way, but the game goes through a little extra effort by putting in some real-life creepers in the form of Gehrman, the first hunter. Upon entering the hunter's dream for the first time, you are greeted by Gehrman, a nice enough wheelchair-bound man that encourages you to make use of the facilities, including, quote, the doll, should it please you. Maybe the old codger has been alone for a little too long, because as you make your way through the workshop, you'll find books on, quote, how to pick up fair maidens strewn about. That's not gonna help you out here, Gehrman. The love triangle. Unlike Gehrman, your hunter doesn't need any tips on picking up fair maidens. Vanquishing beasts and saving damsels in distress is all you need to get those digits, or in this case, blood vials. Is it your fault that these damsels swoon at your mighty hunter prowess and wish to give you their blood as thanks? How can you refuse? Well, in Cathedral Ward, if you choose to send both Sister Adela and the lovely Lady of the Night Ariana to Erden's Chapel, you'll be sparking off a love triangle. Like a Tinder date that you've been ghosting, Sister Adela does not handle rejection well. Get ready for some stank eye when you start speaking with Ariana in the chapel. You can actually see Sister Adela standing up to stare at you as if you're talking to her. Sorry, new phone, who dis? Choosing to play the field and taunt the psychotic Sister Adela is never a good idea, but should you take more than 3 blood vials from Ariana, when you next return, you will find Adela has killed Ariana in jealousy. Oh, you heartbreaker. A missionary or an imposter. Erden's Chapel is just one of the safe havens that you can send the citizens of Yharnam to. You'll be able to send them to Yosefka's clinic run by the kind and compassionate Yosefka. Spoiler alert, if you did not follow through with the story, you probably wouldn't have realized that all the survivors that you sent there are dead now. You'll discover this plot by entering Yosefka's clinic through the back door in the Cathedral Ward. In fact, you'll discover that the real Yosefka has been replaced with a mad scientist imposter that has been experimenting on the survivors and turning them all into weird, blobby alien things. My bad. Sorry guys. All stories end in death. If you haven't learned by now, Bloodborne likes throwing in these impossible storylines where you inevitably kill people. If you speak to the young girl in central Yharnam, you can choose to help find her mother who's out looking for her father. Being the savior that you are, you go in search of the girl's mother to find that she's already been killed by Father Gascoigne, who has succumbed to the bloodlust. That's unfortunate, but the least you can do is kill Father Gascoigne and send her to a safe location. Should we just not mention that Father Gascoigne is her actual father? Oops. Now, the safe location should not be Yosefka's clinic because that will end up in the girl being turned into a weird blobby alien. Instead, you should send her to Erden Chapel, right? End of story. No, she gets eaten by a boar, and all that's left for you to find is her ribbon, which is just awful. But the tragedy doesn't end there because when you return to the house and discover her sister looking for her, all you can do is give her the ribbon and witness as she commits suicide. This game is incredibly tragic. Why are you playing this? The Hunter's Mark. If you've played Dark Souls before, you're no doubt aware of the game director Hidetaka Miyazaki's references to the Berserk manga series. If you haven't, it is definitely worth a read if you're a fan of the whole dark medieval look, and I'm sure you are if you're playing any of From Software's games. In the manga, there's this mark called the Brand of Sacrifice, which is put onto the victims of these ritualistic murders. You'll notice that the Brand of Sacrifice is fairly similar to the Hunter's Mark in Bloodborne, and you can find actual human sacrifices hanging in the shape of the mark in the Chalice dungeons. Very cool symmetry. Ring that bell! The Chalice dungeons are only for the best of hunters, where layers upon layers of beasts and ruins lie beneath Yharnam, just waiting to kill you. Why enter? Well, as any good gamer knows, you go in exclusively for the loot and the bragging rights. So why would From Software leave a giant bell deep in the Chalice dungeons if they didn't want you to ring it? How can you not ring it? If you just try it out, it summons just about every enemy in the Chalice dungeon to come in and murder you. Yay, party bell. Will you marry me? All the loot in the Chalice dungeons, but the real treasure was love all along. In the depths of Yharnam, you'll eventually come across the the ring of betrothal. Could it be? Finally, you can find a companion to share with you the long nights of terror. Here cometh Annalise, queen of the vile bloods, and you know that this ring can only be for her. Literally, you can only just propose to her. Even if this means joining her covenant and jumping through hoops to feed her those blood dregs, you know that she'll be forever grateful when you propose. It's just very hard to watch as she shuts you down hard over and over again. In this crazy blood-drunk world, will a lonely hunter ever find love? Messages have feelings too. As you know, this game is a surprisingly sensitive adventure. Did you notice that the messages scattered throughout Bloodborne are held by little ghosts in the ground that are remarkably sensitive to your critiques? If you rate a message as fine, these spirits get happy and do a little dance. But if you rate it as foul, the message cries. I'm sorry, little note. The source of the dream. The lore of Bloodborne is profound and tragic, with many Easter eggs linking the waking world with the hunter's dream and the hunter's nightmare. Not to give away too many spoilers for those that haven't finished the game yet, but if you've defeated the Bloodstarved beast in the Cathedral Ward, you'll be able to make your way to the abandoned old workshop. If the abandoned old workshop looks familiar, it's because it's the replica of the hunter's dream and is in fact where Gehrman's first workshop was. You'll even find the doll abandoned inside the workshop. Old bones. It's the small details that bring life to the lore of Bloodborne. Both Gehrman and Lady Maria are some of the first hunters of Yharnam, and their fighting styles bear a lot of similarities. In Gehrman's abandoned old workshop, you find some old hunter bones in the grave next to the door, which teaches you the lost art of quickening. This arcane art is indicative of the first hunters and can be seen being used by both Gehrman and his student Lady Maria in battle. And now you, after equipping the old hunter bone, that is. Maria the doll. Like the young Yharnam girl, it seems all the characters in this game are fated for tragedy. The plain doll in the hunter's dream was modeled by Gehrman after the Lady Maria, his student. After being part of the massacre that happened in the fishing hamlet, Lady Maria goes to work as a caretaker at the Healing Church's research hall. But upon witnessing the terrible experiments done there to the patients, she commits suicide. Gehrman, being the creepy dude that he is, lovingly fashions a doll in her image, but then discards it as it did not have Maria's personality. After you kill Maria, you'll get dialogue from the doll hinting at her relationship with Maria. The Winter Doll. Bloodborne is home to a mess of horrible-looking creatures. The Winter Lanterns, bulbous-headed horrors made up of mashed-up eyes and flesh, could haunt anyone's nightmares, but especially mine. If, however, you take a second to stare directly into their many blinking eyes while not going insane and avoiding all those tentacles, you'll notice that underneath the fleshy brain mass is a relatively familiar humanoid body. In fact, it's dressed exactly like the doll. How did she get here? And why is she singing that horrible song? We don't know, but prevailing theories point her to being a manifestation of your subconscious in the nightmare realm. Thanks, Dr. Phil. I'm gonna go cry this out. The doll has eyes. The Winter Lantern is only one of the extremely disturbing monsters crammed full of eyes in Bloodborne. It seems to be a running theme, and while yes, it achieves maximum gross factor, there's also significance to all those eyes around. Once you find the third umbilical cord and read the description, you'll see that eyes were believed to gain insight. So the more you had, the better, I guess? Some of the eyes can be found not just in monsters, but in the doll as well. Zoom in through her head to check out those inside eyeballs. Some might call it a badly mapped texture. I say it's an Easter egg. It lives! Not all beasts in Bloodborne are terrifying. Some monsters are just creepy and appear when you least expect them to. Somewhere in the hunter's nightmare, you'll witness a snail woman falling from the sky to land dead on the ground in front of you. You'll learn later that she's foreshadowing the fishing hamlet that sits in the sky. But did you know that you can revive her corpse by using Madara's whistle on her? Go on. I know you want to. Shadows over Innsmouth. The snail woman is not the only thing residing above the clouds. After defeating Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower, you discover a fishing hamlet that's home to mysterious humanoid fish creatures that prey to the remains of a great one that's washed up along the beach. Does any part of that story sound familiar? That's because the story of the fishing hamlet in Bloodborne bears a strong influence to H.P. Lovecraft's tale Shadows over Innsmouth. Both depict an investigation in the secretive ruined fishing hamlet, humanoid fish people, and the performance of human sacrifice to the deep ones for the riches of the sea. Don't worry though, Hidetaka Miyazaki was sure to credit Lovecraft with his initials HP in the milkweed room that you find in the fishing village. Once again, I'm Pat, and thanks for watching our Bloodborne Easter eggs. Did you already know these? Did we miss any other Easter eggs? Which are your favorite? Comment below and let us know, and don't forget to click the bell icon to become a part of the notification squad. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.